Mwah. Good morning, sweet darling mad ones. Welcome to mornings. It is 8:36. Correct. Thank you for joining me again. As you know, this is every Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I think Eastern. Today, I would love to welcome you and get into this, as I promised last time, new introduction of topic being, or theme being, with grace. To embody grace to me is such a life's work, as it for me represents such a deep embodiment. So as always, this is kind of like a bit of a beauty segment, but as previously discussed, it is more about having naked beauty dialogues. So, as always, I invite you to join me live if you wish to express and share what this naked beauty dialogue might mean for you, however you feel like you can present yourself to the world. Welcome to those that are joining us in if you feel in a naked way. So the new title for the next two sessions will be with grace, and I want to apply that to the idea of self. As mentioned in the past, this kind of moment developed from me putting makeup on and having a chat with everyone. And so as I have evolved and the application of this has evolved, this is currently where it's landing. So it's going to be quite a chatty one today for a few moments, but I want to apply that idea of self to this idea of self within our beauty and beauty standards in the world, and the idea of self-criticism versus self-acceptance and the relationship with that. Yes. So, having done that, no, I haven't done anything. What I wanted to do was actually step outside of my own thoughts about things, and in general, one moment. And in general, real session together now with some coffee. I wanted to reach out to people that I love, because I've really found that having that feedback has helped me grow. And then I've found that actually in response of the 3 gorgeous friends of mine that I surveyed felt similarly, or their thoughts were similar. So that was really gorgeous and a really beautiful reaffirmation of such. So I wondered, well, is there a practical way that I can explore this? So that was that, reaching out to some dear friends and a couple of other things that I'll mention. So I want to share that with you before I touch on that for what it means to me. So firstly, I might keep these friends anonymous for now, but beautiful friend 1, because I didn't check with them if they're okay with me to share in that, like, to who they are. So first, beautiful friend mentioned that self-love and self-criticism to her was acknowledging your feelings, not blocking emotions, even if it's uncomfortable. Allow your body to move through them as and when it is needed. That is something for me that I have been recently noticing and not trying to fight, because not necessarily fight, but I had always tried to combat how I was feeling, like give it a solution or do something to make myself feel better, when perhaps it's just moving through them. And for me, I don't know if I touched on this last week, but like the wholeness of the body, of self, like we're not separate. The mind body, soul, whatever you believe. It's one unit. So must move. She said, think about maybe why something is reoccurring, if it is, even if it's a good thing. Sometimes it's easy to apply excuses to certain things and without really sitting down to explore it. Which that really resonates with me. And this is all an evolving thing as it is consistent, which I definitely feel like is very true. Hey Sils, welcome. Talking about self-criticism versus self-love. She said, I was talking to my friend, and another one of those things is also honoring and breaking what doesn't serve you. She said it's beautiful that this friend was able to reflect on herself, but encouraged her to do that from a mutual standpoint. So, in her TED Talk, she also advised to zoom out and do what is necessary to protect your heart. And also practically looking after the mind, body, and soul. Yes, that looks like a different thing for everyone. So, it is a lot. My brain just stopped working, as you could probably could tell. That was easy. You could just tell my words weren't making sense. I was thinking about it because I was thinking, about that looking different for everyone. And also protecting your heart. It's so hard because so much is stacked up around that today. And where is the remit of being vulnerable and not? And putting up a fortress. I know I've had a fortress up high, very, very high, until it all kind of shattered down. So another beautiful friend said, self-love for me is more self-compassion, and I've only found it through other people. I'll always have self-criticism that feels innate, but so glad I found some self-compassion along the way, thanks to some special people who taught me it by showing me it, or by checking me when I didn't give myself it. Yes. Thank you to my beautiful friend for sharing that. For sure, we have such different modes of collecting and processing information, and it's definitely so much easier said than done. But having feedback from people that we care about around us, not even literal verbal feedback, because sometimes that's really, really hard. It's hard to know how to best support someone, but just in relation to them, what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're sharing, how that makes you feel in conversation, whatever. It's or by replication or just observing. I know my dad always used to say, see and do. And yeah, I feel like that's really applicable. And so just to have the equilibrium of others around you and their journey, it creates feedback for you as well in that process. So I suppose it is important, the age-old saying of who is around you. Hi, Luce. Luch. So nice to see you. Welcome. And finally, another gorgeous friend said, I guess self-criticism should be coded with love in order to grow, and if it's not, then it's not very constructive. Self-love is so important, but I think both are so hard to control, and your ability to do either is so reliant on your circumstance and mindset. She said, currently I'm trying to be 100% self-love, and I've noticed that in this beautiful friend of mine. Firstly, I'm super grateful for all of these, very thankful for these gorgeous friends and for sharing themselves with me and us. So thank you again. I 100% agree. And it's so hard to make time and space and feel worthy to make time and space to explore these things and to shift what you're used to doing or what might give comfort or whatever. I'm on the journey coming back. What might give comfort, what you're used to doing, in order to and to break that and revisit that in a way that might serve you more effectively or with more love and nourishment, not necessarily better. Like, how do we define that? It's hard to know. Guys, I want to tell you something. I did not take my steroids for my eyes yesterday, and I'm feeling better. And I'm feeling very conspiratorial. Is that a word? So, this is interesting stuff. Anyway. So, it is really, and I suppose, and it's so hard, but I suppose that for me always reminds me to be patient with myself and others around me, because naturally it's crazy, like the language we're so used to using, better, best. I was going to say the best for those that we love, but like just for them to be happy and for me, like, to feel that peace in myself and in others around me. That's like one of my daily prayers, peace and contentment. And, it's hard. Modern life is tricky. Much too juggly. So, yes. But then once you start to see that shift between what you once did and what you're doing and what might be serving you more now, it's encouraging. And I've been feeling like lately, the more you put yourself out there, it may not necessarily be like yielding all the things immediately, and not great all the time, as in you'll have some shit times and feel vulnerable, but perhaps it's all part of the path. The path is the path. So again, I'm really glad to have shared that. For me, I don't really know what to say. I think I've kind of shared bits and pieces through there, but I've found that, and in my kind of current themes online, I have felt that the biggest times where I'm able to transform is when I'm able to accept where and who I am right now and forgive myself, and then however that knocks on to everything else and everyone else in my life. And one of the main things that I can do is to help that is some of my routines and a morning practice, which often includes sitting for a small meditation if I can. But something that's really helped is having like a few mantras and setting a bit of an intention for the day and how I wish to feel, what energy I wish to carry. And it's amazing how incredible the mind can be in carrying that note whilst you do and don't realize you're doing it. So when you're learning, again, it's like I've realized lately, do less, because it takes time to calibrate. And the same, I guess, because I've only ever really started to recently regulate my emotions, the same. But I kind of have always had FOMO around like needing to figure it out immediately or not being presenting like, hi, I'm present. So an interesting thought. And so, a leaky pen. And so a little gentle kind of nudge for today is, and perhaps a mantra that I'd noted down here, was something we could think about in sharing. Perhaps I release what I do not need to carry. I release what I do not need to carry. I do release what I do not need to carry. And allow myself and others to step forward in a dance. So I'll leave it at that. Finally, I want to encourage a couple of things that I have started to listen to. The Goop podcast. I really like it. It's really, I was hesitant, but there are some really great speakers and informative points of view. I think it could feel a little more inclusive, but it does speak to me in some parts, and it might resonate with you. So I'll report back on that. Something I want to watch is The Illusionist. So again, breaking down beauty and beauty standards in our world. And then Face Value, a book I just started listening to in terms of like its intro, but The Hidden Ways Beauty Shapes Women's Lives by Autumn Winterfield. Autumn Winterfield, I don't know what the word is before Madrano. And then she talks about the science of beauty and the battle of the prettiest. So that interests me. Suppose I want to say it's like I know a lot of my feeds and postings like my face and beauty and fashion and whatever, but I don't think women need to be a particular archetype. And a lot of the time the story I'm choosing to share is based around an aesthetic and it's a story. So, and I consider myself or a part of my language as a visual artist to be visual, and so, yeah, I think that all of those can exist together. It's perhaps like a consciousness about how. Yes. Well, that is all I will leave you with today. Thank you for joining me on Mornings. I'm Nina Boo. I will be sharing this on TikTok and YouTube. Feel free to share if anything resonates with you. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about anything, blah, 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 let me know. I wanted to do like a little Ice Cube facial wake up, and then So, Pause coffee burp. You can just take a little ice cube in the morning and just rub it around that kind of T-zone and wherever it might work. Maybe wrap something around it so it's not too cold on the skin. But it's really great for reducing redness and inflammation. And I always find cold. I'm really just on a cool moment. I'm really appreciating the cool. But I feel like that kind of combats certain heats, and you can kind of play with that how you feel and have a little look into it more as to how it might work for you. Yes. Okay, well, I will leave you with that. I love you. I'm Nina Boo. Have a beautiful day. Sending you heaps of peace and love. Mwah!